What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Let me get to the spot. Let me get to the spot. Hey, everybody. What is going on? This is Plan Your Greatness, and I am your gracious host, Carlton Hamilton. And let's get started today. Today is Tuesday, day number 36, I think it is, of my insanity journey. And I do apologize for getting on here a little later. Usually I'm on here somewhere between closer to 6:30. But if you've ever done the insanity workout, there's 3 phases of it. There's phase number 1, which is the kind of the warm up. For the first month, it's really getting your body used to all the pounding, the different changes of direction that you're getting into, because most people that jump on and try to do an insanity program, they're out of shape. And so they probably, there's some knee problems, maybe some back problems. And they always have the disclaimer on there that, hey, make sure you check with your physician, get started. And even when people check with their physicians, they're not athletes for the most part, or like myself, they're a former athlete, but it's just gotten themselves out of shape. And so that first month, you're just pounding away. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Thanks for joining in this morning. All right, so I'm back on this insanity program, and I've been consistently doing it for the past 35 or 36 days. All right. But before that, months before that, I started changing what I was eating. So I was already in the routine of eating better, just kind of watching what I'm doing, getting a little exercise. But then I said, okay, I tried this insanity program years ago, got great results. So I'm going to get back started on it. But again, the first, just kind of give you a breakdown of how it works out, is the first 28 days. It's a lot of just training your muscles to get used to all the pounding. All right. So after those 28 days, then you go through a week of rest, but you're not like actually resting, but you're doing a bunch of body weight stuff. You're just not pounding all over the place on your knees and everything. So after that week is up, then you do a test to see where you are compared to what you did at the very beginning. Because when you start the program, you just do a test to see your fitness level. And then after a month, well, actually after 2 weeks, then after another 2 weeks. So after a month, you're then looking at your program and just looking at yourself and seeing how you've done. So I just did that the other day, but now I'm back full on into the program. And so that was a beast yesterday and actually today. So I'm just getting back into it, and it's so intense because now your body is strong. Your body is used to all that movement, and then you're getting back into it. Whew, man. So I am taking a beating, but those programs, the second phase of it is like 60 minutes, almost an hour. So the first month, the program, the maximum time was about maybe 40 minutes at the max, the whole program. And so this one, it's another 20 minutes. What's going on, man? Get it in. Got to get it in. These guys are... I walked to this park that's near the house, and it looks like these athletes that got bodies like mine used to be back about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, probably. Yeah, about 30 years ago, back when I was in my 20s. And these dudes ripped up, young, beautiful black bodies, about to get out here and get some workout in, look like they about to throw the football around. So it's a beautiful thing just seeing brothers out here in the morning getting it in. All right, so I'm not going to be on here too long. I just wanted to just kind of cool down for my workout. But I had a couple of thoughts that just came across my mind. I have, on my channel, after you get through looking at this, you can go to actually my YouTube channel, which is called Plan Your Greatness TV. So every time I have one of these talks, I upload it, but you'll be able to go back. I probably got 300 and something videos over the years of different topics, and some of them are edited very creatively. I just haven't had the time to edit and put little stuff into the videos to make them very appealing. I'm going to start doing that on Sundays when I have a little bit of time, when I close the store early. But today, if you see the topic, if you see the title, it's called Scales and Watches. And just as I was getting ready to walk out the door today, I was thinking, I said, what am I going to talk about? And then I said, every day I look at my watch as far as like where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do. And I use the scale, because every day I get on the scale, and a lot of times I get on the scale and I don't see movement, or sometimes I will have eaten bad over the last couple of days, and then my weight may have gone up maybe just a pound. And so a lot of us get real frustrated with looking at scales and looking at our watches. Because let's think about this for a second. Shaymon, what's going on, brother? Glad you joined in. But you'll like this, because it has to do with sports and all that other stuff. But here's the understanding that we have our measuring stick of, say, if we want to lose weight, okay? And we start looking at this scale every single day, because we're using the scale as a measuring stick of, are we making any progress? We do a cleanse, and that's another thing I did along with my workout. I started a 14-day cleanse. Today is the 14th day of the cleanse, and I'm gonna do a follow-up on that. I can tell you, because I put it together with the fact that I was eating better, that I was exercising, and I did this very simple tea cleanse. I was just drinking like 2 or 3 cups of this tea every morning after the workout. And I'm telling you, throughout the day, if I didn't have a job, or I didn't have my businesses where I don't have anybody's schedule, where I needed to be on the phone or something like that, I'd have been in trouble, because this stuff was cleaning my system out. Woo! And I would say this stuff probably cleaned out about 10 pounds of whatever was up in my system. So along with just my normal course of me losing a little bit of weight with the working out and eating right, I probably lost an additional 10 pounds just of garbage that my system helped clean out. So that's another thing. So again, let's get back to the watches, scales and watches. All right. So every day I'm getting on the scale. I'm trying to see if I'm making any progress. All right. But I also learned that I could go and eat badly, and that'll only make my weight fluctuate maybe 3 pounds. That's it. And then I get back on my program and I'm good. And back after a couple of days, I will have gotten myself back, lost that little bit of weight, and then gotten back on track. Now, so we have to use the scale smartly. We can't allow ourselves to get so discouraged that if we didn't lose a pound or so that particular day, maybe just your body just did not burn the calories or whatever it was during that 24 or 48 hour period. So we can't be tripping on that. Number 2 is the watch. Okay. Now think about it. Now, I have not worked in a corporate office. I've not answered the bell for anybody since what? 2000, let me see, honestly, 2015, 16. That was the last time I worked for anybody, worked for W-2, whatever. After that, I was building my other stuff, but that's when I basically went solo and just said, hey, I'm gonna make this shit work. I ain't working for no one else. I have an issue answering the people. Usually I'm pretty smart. I usually would have really good ideas. And a lot of cases, places like that wouldn't take those ideas and implement them. And I'd be like, oh, the hell with y'all. Let me get up on out of here. So watches, time, okay? If you get to your job right on time, are you really on time or are you late? In most cases, if you're supposed to start your job at 7 o'clock and you walk up in there right at 7 o'clock, you late. All right? And most definitely, if you're supposed to be there at 7 o'clock and you get there at 10 minutes after, some people will justify, well, you know, I'm here, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. I could whatever. You're late. So it's the same thing that I use the comparison with time, watches, when we measure ourselves as far as what we're doing. Are we getting to the job on time? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Same thing with the weight. There's an area of fluctuation. You know what I'm saying? So if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, now I'm making this connection here. If you are doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as your weight program, you're going to have these fluctuations of time, of just being of productivity. So I know it doesn't, you kind of think about that as far as, how does those things kind of connect together? But I'll wrap it up like this. I'll say that if you are really doing your fitness workout, okay, a few pounds here, a few pounds there, it's not going to make a difference. But on the flip side, when it comes to your jobs, as far as that, if you are supposed to be somewhere and you're not there where you're supposed to be, or on time, that makes a difference. So when it comes to what you're trying to do as far as getting yourself in the right space, as far as the workouts and everything, the main thing with that is being consistent. Every day that I've gotten up, and I've done this for 35 consecutive days. All right. But even before that, before I started counting, I was actually doing stuff for 2 months. So somewhere in the range of 45 to 60 days, I was doing something consistently already. Now I said, okay, now I'm getting on this insanity program, which is more structured. And I've been doing it for 36 consecutive days. And so it runs all the way to 60. So you got 36, 46, 56. We got another 24 days. And then I'll be done with that program. And then I'll just keep going because I will have created this sort of consistency. But again, let's talk about let's get to the watches and we'll bring this all together and close this thing out. Okay. So if we are always watching how much we're weighing, then understand that that's going to be a very slow process. If you're watching what you're eating, you're getting exercise, you're not going to get in there and lose literally 5 pounds. Now, this guy came into the store the other day and he said, man, I work repairing metal roofs. And I said, with all that heat and everything, I said, you literally could lose 2 or 3 pounds of water. And he said, yeah, I definitely could do that. But just losing that water, is he going to be consistently doing that every day? Probably not. Because at some point in time, he's going to need to replenish that water or he's going to dehydrate himself. Okay. So you got to be watching, you got to be taking into account that's not a good comparison. But just somebody who's actually eating, exercising, really watching what they eat, really paying attention to the exercises, getting consistent, doing it every day, then that's going to be somebody that's going to show some improvement over a long period of time. Now, I started out, I want to say some point in time this year, I think I was about 265 pounds. And because I'm almost 6'3", again, people will look at that and they can't see underneath the clothes, where I'm at. Okay. But I've lost 21, 22 pounds. I think I'm down to 243. And this is not through some funky weight, cleanse or something like that. It's just that I started eating better. I started exercising, and I started getting better sleep. That's another thing I'll add in. You want to make sure that you are getting your 6.5 to 7 hours. Some people can get 8. I'm so busy with everything. I usually can get about 6.5 hours of sleep a night, which allows my body to repair. I don't have any knee problems. I don't have any joint problems, even though my shoulder and elbow from all the years of playing baseball, they bother me a little bit, but not to the point where I can't do anything. All right. So that's all I really got to say today, is I want to just bring this home and say, stop worrying about your watches. Stop worrying about the scales. The main thing is if you're doing what you're doing and you're consistent, you're getting to work on time, you're doing the things that you're supposed to do, then you can actually go from that point. Now, I've said this to my kids, and I've told them, I said, okay, so if you don't have any sort of structure in your day, you don't get up at a certain time, you just kind of get up willy-nilly, you don't have any idea of what you're trying to do, and let's put it in the context of a regular job. If you go to the job and you say, this is what I plan to do today, because you know what your company trained you for. You went through some old bullshit ass training for 2 weeks or a month or whatever it was, and they told you this is what you're supposed to do every single day. So then okay, these are the amount of calls I should be making. This is the type of engagement I should be having. These are the type of sales or whatever, customer service, whatever the hell it is you're supposed to be doing. So you have an idea of what that's supposed to look like. So at that point, like I tell my kids, once you know what it is that you are supposed to do, okay, then you can actually start grading yourself, not the company. You can start grading yourself and say, okay, this was my productivity today. Okay, can I do better than that than yesterday? And this is another thing that I've shared with my kids and I shared with other people. I said, this is what separates elite athletes. Like, I didn't get a chance to play professional sports for a decade by doing nothing. I had to compete against these dudes every year. And if you can't compete against these guys, they are going to run you off that field because they're all trying to get paid. They're all trying to play this game as long as they can. So you know what you're doing. You know what you did the day before so you can measure yourself. And so, again, this is what I've told other people, and this is what I've told my children, that every day you should have some sort of measuring stick at how you conducted your day and was it productive. And if you're not doing that, then how do you know if you done won? How do you know if that day was productive? You don't if you're not measuring anything. Okay? So it's the same thing. Even though I'm saying that you don't want to get so caught up in what the scale looks like and the time on your watch. You don't want to get so caught up in that, but you do want to have a point where you are measuring yourself as to, what time you're getting to work, how much you're eating, how much weight you're losing, because they're going to be small successes, and then you'll be able to see if you're making some progress. But again, let me remind you that as you do that, understand that it's going to be a journey, and it's not going to be, every day you're not going to have some big giant win. You may just be able to stay right where you are, but then the day after that or the day after that is where then you'll show that you've made some improvement. And if you're doing that, if you're measuring yourself every single day, you're not getting so caught up in 5 or 10 minutes. Because again, the last thing with the watch is I look at my watch. My watch at one time, the clock on the stove had a different time, and then my phone had a different time. And I said, Tucker, these all are different. And I said, okay, well then if they're all different, then I just want to make sure that I take the one that has the closest time. Like, I wanted to start this live at 7. So I think the time on my phone had the closest time to 7 o'clock. So I said, okay, I'm gonna be closest to that one, because it's like if I said I'm gonna get to work, some people set their watches 5 or 10 minutes early, so they go by that watch, and then they say, okay, then I know if I go by that one, then I know I'm gonna always be on time. So that's what I tried to do. But again, as I always kind of close out and just remind you guys that if you are making some sort of changes, or you're making some sort of, you're kind of tracking yourself as you're going along, and you're understanding that this is not something that's going to make some change right then, right there, that day. And if you do make a change, it's going to be something small, but you're going to stay with it the whole time. If you are doing that, you are absolutely 100% planning your greatness. All right. Thank you guys for joining. This is Plan Your Greatness, and I will leave you what I always leave people with every day. Plan your greatness. You know why? Because no one else will. I'll see you all next time.